This is DDS. We are your hosts, Blake Melton, Bradley Newberry, and the man Matthew Parker is back with us in studio today. Parker, how you doing?
It's good to be back, and dare I say, successful season on Rocky Top.
Yeah, I agree.
Very much so.
How about down there in Gainesville?
Hey, the
Hey, what
Florida
about
Gators
Gainesville?
became bowl eligible, and they have a new coach on the way, which we will talk to soon. But thank you for joining us here on our college reaction show. We'll jump right into Rocky Top. The UT Vols finished their regular season at 7-5 with an expected 45-21 victory over Vandy. Vols Twitter going crazy. Some people are happy, some people are pissed. Mixed reviews at best, Parker, about this game against Vanderbilt.
I don't know what there's mixed reviews about. It wasn't this close. I mean, there's a bomb at the end of the first half to make it this close. This is a name your own score type game. I don't really know what you would be unhappy with.
I mean, some of the things that I read were they continue to play down to their competition. The defense was lazy. ETSU only allowed 3 points to Vandy. How could we allow more? I mean, but none of that matters. That's in the past, right?
So the thing is with this game, let's remember that was this Tennessee's best game? No, not by a long shot. They actually outscored their average in points, but it's nice to be able to have a conversation about Tennessee with that they didn't have their best game and they still blew out a team. This was not a close game. They were never in any danger of losing this game. They just did what they had to do. I mean, I think that the game plan was pretty clear from the very beginning. It was, we're going to run the ball and you cannot stop us. We're not going to put the ball in danger of being intercepted or anything a bunch. We're going to run the ball, and we're going to tell you we're going to run the ball, and you can't do anything about it. And that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, and they doubled them up. I mean, I just don't. Yeah, the ETSU comparison, that was like the first game of the year.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
To me, that didn't matter.
Fans are insane. You double up an opponent that you've actually struggled with over the last few years, and I don't think that you can be upset with it. I think these people are crazy. I don't know what they expected.
Well, the other thing is, I mean, Tennessee didn't get the ball a bunch. I mean, let me be honest with you. The game plan that Vanderbilt had was not a bad game plan. They played keep away. The problem was they didn't have the defense to keep us from scoring. You know, I mean, what was it? Which quarter was it? I mean, they basically didn't touch the ball the entire quarter almost.
I forget. I'll have to look at
One of the quarters, I mean, literally Vanderbilt had the ball like the entire quarter. It may have been the first quarter. I think
it was the first.
It was the first quarter. I think they had the ball like 13 minutes out of the 15 minutes in the quarter.
That's not uncommon, though. We've seen some lopsided time of possessions, but honestly, Blake and Parker, it hasn't mattered. I mean, UT, if they're going to score with a defensive touchdown, that's technically 0 time of possession. If they're if they'd score on their little quick 3-play 1-minute drives, I mean, it's just about efficiency.
Well, I mean, the time of possession thing only matters to the point that the Tennessee fans want to complain about not scoring enough. I mean,
They just want to see more.
I mean, the reality is we would have scored 70. We just didn't have the ball, get the ball enough because they went on these prolonged drives.
And at halftime, it's I don't care. I know the scoreboard says 24-7. It's 24-0.
Yeah, it really is.
Basically.
I mean, they put that 1 second back on the clock. And of course that happens. That's the kind of thing that happens all the time. But yeah, a lot of running the ball, a lot of little short dig routes, little hook routes to Cedric Tillman, who absolutely just crushed the whole game. I mean, I'm really hoping we're able to hold on to him for one more year. I mean, everybody's keeping their fingers crossed about Hendon staying on for a super senior year. Who was it on the offensive line? One of the offensive linemen, senior offensive linemen, staying for his super senior year. Carvin? Is it Carvin? It's Carvin.
And they've brought in some new recruits. They've now jumped up into the top 25 of the national recruiting boards. Yeah. So it's moving in the right direction. Yeah, I view this season as success. I know we'll probably have a wrap-up show and all this stuff. And we got bowl games to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Other notes that I have, Hendon Hooker again did exactly what he needed to do. 156, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 75 rushing yards. I didn't get to see the Milton fumble. Can either one of you elaborate what that was?
Joe Milton does not need to play quarterback for the University of Tennessee. I mean, first off, it was a read option play.
Okay.
It was a terrible read. The defensive end did not crash. He should not have kept the ball.
So he was kind of
was staring. He was literally looking straight at the defensive end, and he tried to juke with like doing one of these numbers with the ball in his hand, and he lost it.
I don't know if there's ever been a player, and I'll sit here and admit I was wrong on this. I got enamored by his arm like preseason, looking at it, and said he was going to be the starter, and he was, and I was all excited. I have never gone from being so excited about a player in just a few months time period to just so out on a player.
Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, I bragged on him a little bit last week, and, he comes in and he just lays a golden egg here. But it is what it is. I mean, everybody was, kind of riding a lot of emotions. It was a very big deal. It's senior night. So a lot of folks were there that were going to be playing their last games for the University of Tennessee. And I think for the most part, they did pretty well. I mean, like I said, it wasn't their best game by a long shot, but I don't think it was a bad game at all. I think they did what they had to do.
It's a win.
I mean,
moves them to 7-5.
Yeah. And then Hooker continues to just look like Mr. Consistency.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that we said off air here is the difference between college and NFL is NFL just win. Just win, baby, as the Raiders would say. But in college, there's some mythical thing where you have to win nicely or fancy, and it just feels different. I don't know. But to me, it's just a win. Just win. Balls.
Totally agree.
Anything else before we move to the swamp?
I think I heard that there were Tax Slayer Bowl representatives there, Music City Bowl, and Liberty Bowl representatives all at the game on Saturday.
Parker wants Iowa.
I also saw Outback.
Outback Bowl, that'd be good.
Outback versus Wisconsin is the one that I see floating around a lot. But I think there's 3 SEC teams that are trying to get to 2 Florida games, and one of these teams are going to get stuck in Music City. It's A&M, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. Which 2 get to go to Florida, and which one's going to be in the Music City Bowl is kind of, I think, what it's going to be down to. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm just happy to be going bowling, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you would have told us at the beginning of the year this was going to be our record, and we had a chance to have 8, maybe 9 wins before the bowl, I mean, dude, I'd have been all over that. So
I think a couple of you predicted something similar to this record. I didn't.
I had 8-4. I thought that they would beat Pitt. That's the one I missed.
I had 5-7, so I was wrong. You exceeded my expectations, Rocky Top.
I can't remember what I said.
There'll be another show. We'll do a review.
Shame our picks.
Yeah,
I think we're closer than you guys think.
I think I might have said so.
Let's just not talk about the NFL Denver Bronco picks.
Yeah, and
we all missed that one.
Here's one that we were all wrong on as we move on to the swamp in Florida. I'm not even happy, but the Florida Gators become bowl eligible, folks. That's sad to say. In the last game of the year, a last ditch effort, they get a 24-21 victory over Florida State. Florida State quarterback Jordan Travis did everything he could. He said after the game, losing sucks. I agree with him. He finished 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, rushed for another 102 yards. He was sacked 4 times, Parker, all by the same dude, Mr. Brenton Cox Jr.
I like Jordan Travis.
Me too.
I think he's a player, and I didn't expect to see as much Emory Jones as we saw this game.
I didn't either. I thought he was out.
I thought he was out too.
I was shocked, yeah, because we talked about that I sent you a note preview show. I thought Anthony Richardson was going to get the play on this. But Florida wins. I mean, at least it was a battle for something down there. And Florida State, I know they end up not bowl eligible, but man, as bad as they started off this season, I know they about beat Notre Dame in overtime in the first game, but then they lost like 4 in a row. 5-7 and almost knocking off Gators at the end might be a win for them for how bad it was started.
Yeah, but this game being as good as it was, I mean, the Gators, yes, they're bowl eligible, and yes, just win, I guess, but a lot of pieces to be picked up here after the game for sure.
And it's going to be a struggle. I mean, we can talk about getting into this, I know, here in a minute, but it's going to be a struggle moving not to be Mr. Downer on this, but it's going to be a struggle for Florida going forward. They're not recruiting, as we all have alluded to for weeks here.
Yeah.
The coffers are empty. I just don't know what's next. Getting to a bowl game, getting those extra practices, I think is huge for Florida going into next year. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about this game.
We can start with what's coming next then. New head coach was announced, Billy Napier. Scott Strickland went straight into Louisiana and just stole him from LSU. I don't think that anyone else was on Scott's list. So there it is. There's the new. So it's already begun.
I really thought Greg Schiano had a chance.
Urban Meyer, too.
Yeah. Jags fans wish.
Napier, I mean, there's good and bad to this. He's supposedly a really good recruiter, so there's that. I mean, I feel like that's why they went after him. They went from this guy that hates recruiting to the guy that's good at recruiting.
I mean, but Tennessee fans have been through the phase of he's a good recruiter. He started talking about building stuff with bricks. Okay? Recruiting is one thing. Coaching is another.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my next thing was there's another argument on the other side of this is you went and got somebody out of the Sun Belt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Florida isn't Tennessee. They've been successful over recent years. Could they not go and get somebody proven that's a big time guy and not just somebody off the Saban tree? And I saw the report about how he turned down LSU. Is the biggest crock of crap there has ever been. He did not turn down LSU. His agent said that. There is no way on the face of this earth, the guy that's good at recruiting Louisiana, that's at ULL, turns down LSU. LSU went out and made probably the biggest hire that they could have possibly made in all of college football.
I don't know if Florida gave him a chance to even interview with LSU.
I don't think LSU tried to interview.
I don't think they tried either. I don't think LSU was. I think LSU went with the tactic that you were just talking about. We're LSU. We won a national championship here recently. You guys, we're going to go after somebody that we know is proven.
The one thing I do like about the Napier one is this is more of an NFL thing that's an issue. At least they didn't go get somebody that's turned over, that's had 4 or 5 different stints. It's not that good. They didn't go out and get, whoever off the top of my head, but Jeff Fisher, they went and got the up and coming guy that could be the next guy.
Yeah. I like that too.
There were reports that there were representations of Lane Kiffin calling the University of Florida.
Don't believe.
And Kelly.
Don't believe.
Calling the University of Florida, and Scott Strickland just simply didn't even accept the calls.
I don't believe it. It may be Kiffin, because Kiffin's probably calling everybody, and maybe Kelly's representatives are calling them for money reasons. Like everybody's probably calling everyone to get a better contract. They should be, but I just don't think that. I don't believe that Florida wouldn't answer the phone for Kelly. That doesn't make sense to me.
No.
I understood why maybe not for Lane Kiffin because he's a mess, but for Kelly, I mean, he's the all-time winningest coach at Notre Dame's history, and it's got a long history. He's one of only 6 coaches in the college football active right now to been to the playoffs more than twice, or been to the playoffs twice. I don't understand. That doesn't make sense to me.
I feel like that is underrated because you saying that just now live, I wouldn't have known that.
You're welcome.
I mean, that is some
welcome to the show.
Underrated statistics that only Mr. Parker can bring out.
I mean, he recruits at Notre Dame. I mean, at a national level without being in a conference. Now he's in the SEC at a program that the last 3 coaches have all won national championships with. Nick Saban, Les Miles, and Coach O all won national championships at LSU. I just think, and Coach O's a good recruiter.
Yeah.
This team is going to be good next year.
Yeah, probably the next 2.
At LSU this year, if anyone remembers, They lost their starting quarterback before the season even started.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that this is going to be a really good team. And I wish Coach O was still there.
He's just a character.
God, I love him saying just
Go Tigers.
oh, it's the best. It's the best.
It's like everybody just looks for it.
Oh yeah, were you waiting for it?
The reporter's like, Go Tigers.
It's great.
They love waiting for it. And
Yeah.
you know what Michigan fans have been waiting for? For how many games, Parker? 8 straight. They've been waiting for Jim Harbaugh to wake up, slap himself in the face, and go out and beat Ohio State. And by God, they did it.
Yeah, they did.
They did it.
I was shocked. I mean, I didn't get the feeling that this game was even particularly that close. I feel like they just had them whipped from the get-go, honestly. I mean, Parker gave a great analysis on his note that he passed to Newberry about it all. And, I mean, goodness gracious.
We both laughed it off. We were like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a close game.
I
Get
mean,
out of
honestly, I thought this was a spot where Stroud was going to come in and have another Heisman moment. And honestly, he may have, but
here.
I
He had a
mean,
good game.
he had a fantastic game, but it just, I mean, when you have 394 yards passing and you still can't win the game, I mean, that's an extraordinary effort on the other side.
I mean, it was, what was it, Parker? You're pulling it up. Almost 300 yards, just ramming it down Ohio State's throat in the snow.
297 yards and 8 yards per carry.
Can't stop it.
You can't stop that. I was hoping really for Ohio State because I wanted to see an Ohio State Georgia in the championship, just that defense versus that offense. I don't know if y'all saw the quote after this when Harbaugh came out and they asked him about Ryan Day. And I loved it. I'm not a Harbaugh guy, but I love this quote. And he goes, "Some people are born on third base when they think they hit a triple."
Oof, that's a good quote.
I thought it was absolutely fantastic. No,
Man.
he's just like, that's right, man. You just walked into that job. You didn't bring all these players in. I mean, you did eventually now, but you took over a really successful program.
Wow, a little compliment to Urban Meyer.
Yeah, he was good in college.
And this is a college show. We'll just stick at that.
I will not compliment Urban Meyer on anything.
But yeah, Ohio State, I mean, after falling behind 14-10 late in the second quarter, they never could get back even, man. We mentioned the rushing thing, 42-27, I guess. Hats off to Michigan. They could find themselves in the second position now when all of this settles.
I think they have to be. I think tonight we're going to know when this comes out. We're going to know what they are, right?
Yeah,
it's got to be Michigan at number 2, and yeah, I mean they played themselves into it.
I mean it was convincing. That was the thing. It wasn't just a win. It was. I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's a big dick win. That's what it was. That's what it was.
All right. What about Bama's win? We'll go down to the Iron Bowl. Gentlemen, it was the first overtime game in the history of this rivalry. Alabama comes out on top 24-22. Wasn't pretty at times. Bama gets the win. Any thoughts?
I mean, we knew this was going to – this game always seems to be close no matter what each team's record is. So it was interesting for sure just because everybody's always watching to see when Nick Saban's just going to have an absolute coronary on the sidelines when he plays Auburn. But, I mean, Bryce Young, good quarterback. What can you say?
But he wasn't until the very, very end. I didn't think. It looked off for some reason, Parker.
It did, and they didn't. And then at the end, if Auburn could have just guarded Mechie a little bit better, that's the only person they threw at in the fourth quarter.
How many yards does he have?
You have 13 receptions. The next person had 2.
Him. Well, I mean, one on him, one over the top. Bracket that guy, dude.
Well, it's like they figured out. Bill O'Brien kept throwing it to Auburn's best cornerback, who's like one of the best in the country, and he kept doing it over and over and over again. It made no sense. Bill O'Brien is a trash fire of a coordinator, of a coach.
Yep. He almost lost the game.
Should have lost the game.
Yeah.
Derek Mason, who's a defensive coordinator for Auburn, looks like a genius. I know they lost this game, but this game, Alabama didn't score 24 points. 14 of these came in, not 14 of them, 16 of them came in overtime.
That's true. That's true. Very, very, very true.
Yeah, hats off to the D coordinator there, Derek Mason. I think I even put it out there on Twitter too. I mean, that guy, jeez, The game plan he came up with is a thing of coaching brilliance, I believe.
He's been good all year.
Yeah.
Their defense has been good all year. It's just 3 points through 3 quarters against this Alabama team. This Alabama team isn't the – oh, I'm sorry. I just seeing something. Josh Heupel just tweeted something out. This Alabama team isn't the defense of old. And for them to put up with – it's not even Bo Nix at quarterback.
Nope.
So, I don't know.
Finley, I believe it was. Blake.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got sidetracked.
It's all good.
Yeah, but another Iron Bowl in the books. Alabama now moves on to face number 1 Georgia in Atlanta for the SEC championship, which we will talk about later in the week.
Little preview there.
We've already touched on some coaching movements. We can talk about it a little more if you want for a second. I've got something here from Mr. Robert Hugh Hefner. I don't know if that's his middle name. I'm just going to say it that way. On Twitter, it says,
I respect him already.
Lincoln Riley, his USC contract details. Not confirmed, but the best I can do is what he says. $110 million. USC, they are buying both of his homes in Norman, and then they're buying him a home in LA for over $6 million. Unlimited use of their private jet. Hashtag Sooners. Hashtag Trojans. So there's one moving. Old Lincoln Riley. And I guess that put one of the starting quarterbacks in the transfer portal. One of our favorite topics.
So what does it say about the guy who was the head coach of one of the perennial powerhouses,
it's a premier team,
in college football that was rumored to be coming to the SEC, slated to be coming to the SEC, rumored to be in consideration for LSU as their head coach, says, I don't want to do either one of those. I want to go out here out west.
I know what all three of us
It sounds like somebody tucked tail and ran.
It sounds to me that he did, but he also sounds to me that it's smart.
Smart.
Like, do you want to take Oklahoma, who's been the best? He went from the Big 12 to the new Big 12.
That's definitely true.
You know what? I didn't.
Because Oklahoma's not going to be in the Big 12 anymore.
No. So he's going to, instead of having the top dog in the conference where everybody will come to, he's going to go to be the top dog in the other conference where it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to recruit. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's going from Oklahoma, to Norman to California and living on the beach.
SoCal.
So it just, I don't blame him. I mean, coming here and all of a sudden you're going to have to recruit against LSU and Kelly.
Bama.
And you're in the freaking West probably.
Yep.
You're against Bama and LSU, all these guys. And he's thinking,
Auburn.
Oh my God, I played these guys a couple of times in the playoffs.
He's going to be stuck in the wash in the middle.
I played what was at the time one of the worst SEC teams in Tennessee, and I almost lost.
With a Heisman Trophy quarterback.
Trophy quarterback.
I don't blame him. And I think that's he'll never, ever say it, but I think that's the reason he went. Like, peace out. I don't blame him. It looks shady. It looks scared, but it also to me looks smart.
Yeah, I feel you.
Jeez, man. Whatever.
We've talked about the other one. Do you have any other thoughts about the other coaching movements?
This year's insane. Have y'all looked at this? There's been 22 different coaches that have changed this year, and it's on track to be over 30.
And everybody gets all up in arms if a player goes to the transfer portal, but no one really cries that much about coaches.
The coaches tend to not do it in the middle of the season. That's my issue with the transfer portal. Yeah. I mean, I know we've got a game left.
And they've got to put a stop to that.
I'll tell you who USC can thank for this. USC can thank Oklahoma State for having Lincoln Riley as coach, because if Oklahoma beats Oklahoma State and has a chance to go to the Big 12 championship and maybe an outside shot at the college football playoffs, he's still there.
Yeah.
This is a totally different subject, but I was talking last night to somebody about this. How much of a coaching racket is college football coaches? Like, you just read off his stats, right? They're about $100 million. They're going to buy all this stuff. Do y'all know how much Mike Vrabel makes in the NFL?
A quarter of that, maybe?
3.5.
3.5.
That's the best deal in football.
And these guys are making $10 million. Like, what's Napier going to get paid? And he hasn't done anything. I mean, yeah, he was good at ULL. It's just, I don't know. It feels like they put the cart before the horse in college and not in pros. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of interesting that
I thought I did hear a stat that this season alone, across all of the universities, they were paying some ungodly in the millions of dollars, maybe even closer to $1 billion in salaries for coaches not to coach their universities.
we know all about that. Tennessee was paying like 4 coaches there for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Florida's on that list for maybe 2. It's
I also was just reading some stuff because of the buyouts, because I was curious what Heupel's buyout was if he left. He's not leaving, but it's $8 million. Kiffin's, when he left for USC, it was $800,000. Just to show you how much they've jumped that stuff up.
Yeah, they're gonna make it wherever they go feel it. They're gonna have to earn it if they're gonna steal Heupel away, which everybody's talking about Heupel and the Oklahoma job. It ain't happening. Everybody needs to calm down. He put out some tweets that kind of indicated to me that, look, dude, he ain't going anywhere.
And he said right before we started on a local broadcast that he wasn't going anywhere. And he's just not. And people also don't understand that in Oklahoma, you've got to. Yes, he was a national championship runner-up for a Heisman there, but you've got to be with the Stoops. You got to be. Stoops is running the place right now, and Stoops fired him in 2014 as offensive coordinator. That was the last time they've spoken.
Yep,
he's not going to be hired. If anyone's going to be hired there, it's going to be Baby Stoops.
right.
Heupel's not going anywhere, and people are talking about Dan Campbell going there. I'm sorry, not Dan Campbell. Matt Campbell. Always get them backwards. Iowa State's coach. His buyout is $25 million.
What? Woof.
So anyway, it's just super interesting this year.
Lots of cash. Blake, what will the new top 4 be? Georgia?
Got to be Georgia number 1. I think that's universal amongst us all here.
We going Bama number 2 or Michigan? I think we hinted at maybe Michigan.
I mean, as of this week, I think it has to be Michigan.
And then what, Parker? Bama 3 still?
Bama 3.
Cincy going to hold on to 4 as of right now anyway, before these playoff games or these conference title games? I mean,
they may do it just as window dressing, quite honestly. I think that they're very easily going to be dropped out.
I mean, I know Notre Dame wants up in there, but I wrote down, at least for now, before these conference title games, probably Georgia, Michigan, Bama, and Cincy. Probably.
And then you've got Oklahoma State.
Right, Oklahoma State's out there.
And they've all got tough games this weekend. So what's interesting about it is none of them have a cakewalk yet. Cincinnati's got Houston. OSU's got Baylor. Obviously, Alabama's got Georgia. Mm-hmm. And who's the other one? Said Michigan's got Iowa. So who knows what they do.
See if that luck continues there.
I don't know. Interesting. I think next week will be even more interesting in the college reaction show. I've got nothing else, Blake, unless you got anything else.
I don't. It's definitely going to be interesting. This has been an interesting year, to say the least. A lot of things happened that I don't think any of us really foresaw.
Other than Georgia being awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia's just
we called it out.
Mowing
NFL
everybody down.
Defensive line.
Yep.
Dude, they went again, holding a in-state rivalry to 0.
Nothing.
Not
even close.
Insane.
They flicked the little bumblebees out of Georgia Tech.
I know it. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for joining us on this Our College Reaction Show. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at DDS Sports Talk. Let's get the conversation started about the college football playoff here. Who's your top 4? Who's it going to be after this weekend? Guys, parting thoughts.
We will argue with you on Twitter, so feel free to reach out.
Yes.
Billy Napier, 39-12 in 4 years at Louisiana. How does that translate over to the SEC? I don't effing know. There's new hope, though. He's already recruited more since he's been hired than Dan Mullen has this entire year.
That means he made one phone call.
But to say, we've also recruited the same as Dan Mullen.
Kaboom.
Exactly. All right, guys. Go Big Orange. You guys be well.